Ladies, gents, and everything in between, welcome back to another episode 6 of the Man Knows Hip Hop podcast with myself, the Notorious Jigs, aka the Slack Supremacist, and my guy, the co-host of this shit. What's happening, my guy?
I'm good, man. We say, man, E major, here. Man Knows Hip Hop, the podcast that knows and celebrates hip hop, man. We here. Episode 6, man.
Episode 6,
been
bro.
good.
It's going along real quick, man. But we got some good episodes in the bag, bro.
100%, man. 100%. I'm enjoying it. It's going good. And we've got some more good ideas, some good guests lined up and everything as well, man. So keep rocking with us, man.
Absolutely.
It's good.
Absolutely. So let the people know what's going on this week, man. What's happening? What's on your mind?
Right, man. So here we are, man. So what we're going to discuss, and like we've said many times before, man, we just like to just chop it up and just talk hip hop as we would, you know what I'm saying? If we was just chilling or on the phone or whatever we're doing, we just like to talk this, man, and reviewing it, recording it, putting it out there as episodes, man. So today, we thought we'd look at group splits, not group splits in that sense, but maybe camps or groups that have broken up, and then some people have gone on to do solo things. So we want to look at those who have gone on to do solo things successfully and have actually done better being outside of the group, and those who have maybe gone on and done solo things, but it's not been that good. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they would have been better off staying with the crew for whatever reason. So yeah, we thought we'd chop it up about that today, man. So we got some picks for you, so we thought it'd be interesting, man. So yeah,
bro,
comments to it if you want, man. Let us know.
You know what I thought alongside that kind of train of thought? I think we should touch a little bit on what happened last night. Talking about groups and, you know, solo members out of the groups and stuff. I think we should touch a little bit on the pasting that Dipset took last night.
Yeah, man. I mean,
what do you think? I mean, it wasn't pretty. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty to me because I told all of you that Locks were gonna run riot. But how do you feel about that, bro?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And obviously, it's last night for us, but by the time you guys see this, it was probably a few weeks ago. But still, yeah, that I mean, I'm a fan of both. You know, I've said it on the timeline. I've said it many times before. People ask me from the jump, who do I think's got the win? I knew Locks would get the win. There's no doubt about it. But I'm a man of my word, and I did say often, I didn't think it was going to be a pasting. I said it would be closer than people think, but Locks will get the win. Because when you think about it, Dipset they've got tracks, man. I'm not even going to say hits. They got tracks. They got bangers, man. They got the club thing. They got the girl tracks. They got street tracks. And like everyone has said, man, they got songs that are like anthems. You know what I mean? They got big music, like epic music that I think would be good, man. So I thought it's not going to be a whitewash, man. You know what I mean? I thought Locks will get the win, definitely. But I didn't think it was going to be a pasting like that, man. Everything was just dismantled, man. Locks just... And I ain't trying to pin it all on Kiss because, you know what I mean, Styles and Sheik done their thing, but Kiss, he went rampant, man. He came out there to sever heads from bodies, man. And yeah, they destroyed them, man. Their whole morale, man, just everything about them it weren't pretty, man. As a Dipset fan and a Locks fan, but as someone who likes Dipset as well, it weren't pretty, man. It weren't pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I was never a fan of Dipset, man. I always thought that they were style over substance. They're the rappers in the group, but never good to me. Like I never enjoyed their whole shtick, the whole super baggy clothes and the Bloods and the Bird Gang and all that. It was just whack to me, bro. I never enjoyed it. I couldn't really get through the album Diplomatic Community. There was so much filler on there.
There's a lot of filler. There could have been one album. It should have been one album.
Double album of just chipmunks samples, and yeah, it just wasn't for me, bro, at all. So when the verses was announced, and I was like, the Locks. You lot have seen what Jadakiss did last time, right? When he battled Fab. I think people forgot. Like, people have very short memories in hip hop. Because of the time span now, or the attention span is wild. But I saw what Jadakiss did to Fabulous, and I thought, if he now has Styles P and Sheik behind him after what he did to Fabulous on his own, who's standing against that? Definitely not Dipset. I think that was a mismatch, personally.
Yeah.
You compare catalogs, you compare skill, you compare freestyles, you compare mixtapes, you compare albums. I mean, come on, man! Like it wasn't close, and I was winding up the timeline a little bit, while it was coming on, and I definitely wound it up a bit more after it was finished because I was telling everybody this ain't close. It's not going to go the distance. This is going to be a knockout in the first round, and it basically was. As soon as it started, I think everybody was like, "Rah!"
Nah, it was from the gate, literally
Yeah,
from the
like,
jump. Man,
straight
I thought,
away.
ooh,
As soon as
straight
they
away.
put on "fuck you," I was like, "It's over. It's done." You know what I mean? You can go home now. You can go home now, people. It's finished.
See, for you, I was going to say you got to admit it shouldn't be like that, but for you, it would be because and I'm not even saying Cam's the best rapper out of Dipset, even though he probably is, but he'd be the strongest person in the unit. Do you know what I'm saying? And for someone like you who don't like Cameron either, I can totally understand why Dipset it wouldn't entertain you. It wouldn't be something for you. But I think I've said it to you before, man. There's just something about Cameron, and I actually get why people would mock his style. That whole, I mean, I get why people would mock it. I understand, but there's just something about it I like, man. I just think, I don't know. Whenever I hear Cameron, I think I like this guy. I don't know what it is for whatever reason. I just like the movement, man. You know what I mean? It just felt like hip hop, man. It felt exciting. But obviously, Locks is that longevity. They're there. That's concrete, man. For 20 plus, nearly 30 years. Dipset definitely felt like a time that hasn't really aged that well, but it was a time. But I thought, off of the strength or the power off of that time that they had, even if it was only sort of like 4 or 5 years or whatever, I thought they'd have some contenders. But there's a lot of stuff they didn't do, man. Like lots of pulling on everything, man. Like their
Let me
solos,
ask
their
you this
features,
though,
everything.
Let me ask you this though, as a Londoner, Dipset fan, they didn't resonate among me and my peoples. Like, and I was, at the time when they were out, I was out with a lot of DJs. Going to up and down the country to different shows and whatever. Dipset was never like, I think there was Oh Boy and maybe Hey Ma, maybe
Actually didn't like those. That's the
Santana's Town. Maybe like there's a couple tunes like, but as a group, I don't remember anyone going crazy over them guys like at all. They were.
No,
It was
you mean.
when G Unit come out and it was like, whoa, like we got 50,
G Unit was a whole
free Yayo t-shirts before anyone even knew who this guy was and all of that. Dipset was never. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It just passed me by, man. Maybe because I didn't like it. I don't know. But it just didn't. I didn't see the fever that when I went to New York, I understood it then because I could understand that they were from New York and it was their thing because my cousins were loving it and I was like, what are you doing? Like this is trash. Like this is nonsense. But they liked it. But over here, it just didn't. Like it didn't make no noise around the people I was with. I had a guy
because I like
my guy, shout out Ben. Like he was working at Universal at the time. And he was getting promos and all kinds of stuff for Dipset. And again, like I had a guy literally in the building where the music was coming out of, and there was no interest from us. Like we could have got everything for free, and we didn't. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know, man. It just didn't touch us at all that way.
See, I like Cameron, innit? I liked Cameron. I know the first album gets a lot of stick, but I actually thought there was a lot of heat on that. Do you know what I mean? I think Come Home with Me is my favorite album. I like the production that he had. And obviously, a lot of that production filtered through to the whole Dipset movement as well. So I like their production. It just felt, I know I say the word a lot, but it just felt like big. It felt like epic. It felt cinematic. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I like. It felt like moments and movements, man. And I don't know. It was just something that I never rated them like, oh, these guys are super lyrical or these are the lyricists of the year. I know they weren't. Like Jewels, for example, I know why he got the hype he got, but I never listened to Jewels and thought, rah, dude, he's a spitter, man. Never. But it was just something about, and I think that's the thing with me in it, that there's times when I love all that super lyrical. There's times when I want that. There's times when I need that. There's times when I just want that hood, that rawness, that ghetto. And there's times when I just want the musicality of it all. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know, it's just different pockets. And I felt like this set for me, it was a moment that I enjoyed. You know what I'm saying? But I know what you mean because I went to New York in 02 or 03. and there were big like billboard posters of them up and everything. They, you know what I mean? I get it. The move New Yorkers would have loved that whole thing, but no, over here it wasn't like that at all. But I definitely checked for them. I definitely like their stuff. Do you know what I mean? But I think it was more because I checked for Cam. I never liked Jim Jones, the rapper.
I don't
He's
know
much
anybody.
better now. Yeah, that's
He's
what I
much
mean.
better
He's
now.
much better
Sure.
now. Much better now. And that's
Shout out
another
to
reason why I don't think they get. that's, that's another reason why I don't think they get destroyed like that. Because Jim's in a good lane right now. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's like he's not writing or whatever, but he's off for the strength of a few years of some good runs at the moment, some good music. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, Joel's ain't really saying that, but Jim Jones, you know, I just thought, you know, I don't know, man. Yeah, it was something different where what I was expecting. Like I said, I knew it would be a Locks win, but that was
Well,
hideous,
shout
man.
out to the Locks, man, and you know what I mean. That's 30
They held
years,
it down, man, as always.
30 years of
Mm.
like just being underappreciated. Like, let's keep it absolutely all the way real. They've done absolutely everything. They went and did their solo thing. They survived Puff Daddy without wearing a dress. Shout out to them for that. I'm pretty sure they went out to parties. I don't remember any of the Locks, you know, being involved in any of that madness. They're all alive, thank God. Like they all survived the bad boy era. You know what I mean? They came out of there wearing the shiny suits and they shook that off real quick and they got back to their roots. And they made solo albums that were dope. Styles P made a great career in his own right. Sheik is highly underrated. He's got many fire.
That's not even
like let's not even pretend that he's like some dead rapper. Like Sheik is a fire rapper.
Never that, man.
And Sheik is better than a lot of these dudes that these people are championing on Twitter and all kinds of stuff, man, talking about this guy and that guy. And I'm like you're championing duels and then you're dismissing Sheik, then that tells me you don't know what you're talking about. Hip-hop, man.
It's just who Sheik's standing beside. That's all it is, man. You look at Kiss and Styles; they're elite MCs, man. And I think Sheik is the least lyrical out of the three. So if you're going to look at anyone as the weakest link, you'll possibly look at Sheik as the weakest link. But hand on heart, when Locks first dropped, Sheik was my first favorite.
Yeah, Jadakiss was my first favorite, and then Sheik, and then it was Styles. And as time kind of went on, when I heard A Gangster and a Gentleman, it was then kind of I've always had like a different, like all three of them are dope. And I think the only reason Sheik might get overlooked is simply because he's with two of the best that's ever been in hip hop.
That's what I'm saying. When they were jumping on everything, he wasn't, because he even said himself he weren't really interested in a lot of the stuff. So he would just say, "You lot do your thing."
That's it.
He weren't really bothered. So when they was getting all the hype and all that, he weren't at a lot of things, you know. And I think that's all it is. But now, so that's probably why people would look at him as the weakest link. But far from it, man. I know We Are the Streets is a very polarizing album, but I love it. I think We Are the Streets is a brilliant album.
Yeah,
but you know what though, man?
But I think the only reason
it's a hard album
is because of Swiss Beats. I think a lot of people were expecting like just some hard street album, and a lot of the beats, man, just weren't like, I don't know. It had that Swiss Beats.
But they did them justice, though.
They did.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
The production on the album, man. A lot of the rapping is elite on there. Like great rapping on the album. But some of the beats just didn't sound good, man. But it is what it is, man. At the end of the day, they're legends. They've done themselves justice more than once. They've proved themselves on every stage. And yeah, just shout out to them, man, for grabbing that win. As I said that they would do, man. So yeah, shout out to the Locks, man. So back to the topic at hand, man.
All right.
You want to go first? Like, so we'll go through the three that was in the group who made a fantastic solo career, and then we'll have a look at three who maybe should have stayed where they were. So you,
all right, man. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to kick off with I'm looking at my list because I made like multiple people. I'm just trying to think who are the best ones to give a shout to. So I'm going to start with Eric Sermon, EPMD, as someone I feel it was better for them to go solo. Do you know what I mean? For me personally, and by the way, just for the listeners, we're not talking about why the group split up or anything like that. We're just talking about because of a split, yeah. So we know there was beef and all that. So I don't want anyone saying, yeah, but if they stay together, they never had good chemistry anymore. So none of that. But just saying, with the split with EPMD, for me, I always looked at EPMD as, yes, I know Eric Sermon done the production, so take away the production side of things. I always felt like Parrish was the main guy in EPMD. Take away the production. I felt like when you looked at EPMD, you saw Parrish. I don't know why. I don't know if it was just maybe because of the name. It just felt like it was more homed in on Parrish. I don't know what it is. Lyrically, I think they were probably on par, but there was just something I felt like in the songs, in the tracks. I just felt like Parrish was going to be that guy. So if you take away all the stuff after EPMD split, what would that have been like? 93, 92, 93, something like
92.
that. If you take,
I think
yeah, because it was after,
I think Hostile came out in like 92, and then I think No
yeah,
Pressure came out in like 93.
there you go. So 92, yeah, because Business Never Personal, I think, would have been their last one in it. So before the back in business. So yeah, if you take away after 92 what we know of Eric Sermon and just look at that, if anyone said to me, "Oh, they're splitting tomorrow, I'm going to do their own thing," take away the production side of thing. I thought Parrish would have been the one that would have done better. But obviously, we know, yeah, you know. And like I
Bro,
said, I'll
I've never heard anyone say that ever in my life. That PMD was the star of EPMD, man. Never. You're the first person.
see
Every
now. See that's very interesting for me.
Yeah, every conversation we ever had about EPMD, Eric was the star. Like, I'll give you an example, right? So I think last week when we spoke about the shows, and I spoke about going to the show and Parrish coming out and doing some set, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, where's Eric, man? What's happening?" And I think if Eric came out and there was no Parrish, no one would have cared. Like, everyone would have still be jabbing. But the fact that Parrish came out and no one was happy about it, that kind of told me that Eric was the star of EPMD, man. He made the sound.
I think that's in hindsight, though. I think that's only in hindsight. If that was 92 and they hadn't dropped any of their solos, would the crowd still have responded like that?
Bro,
I think they would have responded like that either way.
K Solo, everyone went with Eric. Keith Murray, everything it went with Eric. PMD was left with Das Effects, man. That was it.
There's definitely no, check it. But see, for me, all that was surprising though, because I'm thinking, as I still remember the Keep It Real, yeah, the Eric Sermon, the Keep It Real, and he's like, "Peace to Redman, the rap funkadelic, that only MC stayed real to Eric." Do you know what I mean? So I remember looking at that and thinking, "Rah, Redman, he stuck with Eric, man. Like, more power to him, innit?" And then you're looking at what's happening after that. But I'll put my hand up, man, and I'll say, I'm not saying I speak for the whole hip hop community. I'm not saying that at all. But I know for me and who I was talking hip hop with, and in my vision and what I was seeing, I subconsciously saw Parrish as the guy for some reason. I don't know. I can't even put a finger on it, but I saw Parrish as the guy. So I mean, take away the production in it. But then obviously after the split, just seeing what was happening, because obviously Parrish dropped his solo. Who's got a couple of tracks, I feel. Shady Business ain't terrible. Do you know what I mean? But come on, when you're gonna compare solo work, do you know what I mean? And I'm not even just talking about Eric's production here, but if you're gonna talk about solo work, Parrish, you know what I mean? He's leagues behind Eric Sermon. Do you see what I'm saying? So the split definitely done Eric Sermon better, because even for the opportunity, a lot of people will say, maybe not so now, but a lot of people will say, you know, for me, Wiz is number 2 in my top 10 producers list, all right? But I've heard a lot of people, I don't know if you agree, but I've heard a lot of people say that the thing sometimes that kept RZA off of the radar for many people was because he didn't do enough work outside of the boot camp. Right. And for me, I think that's nonsense, because he done so much work in the boot camp, it kind of counts for other work, because it's not like you just say he's only done albums for just Method Man and that's it. He done albums for like all of the people in the crew, their own stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's so much. But what I'm saying is, I think with Eric Sermon now, with the EPMD split, he could have been so busy working on EPMD work, it now gave him the opportunity to work with Redman, work with Keith Murray. Do you know what I'm saying? Work with whoever he's working with, the production he's doing, the Jamal, the other people he's producing for on classic albums. Do you know what I'm saying? Whether it's LL, Jay-Z, to whoever, he's got all of those things under his belts, and his own solo album. So I definitely think Eric Sermon EPMD splitting, it was a good look for Eric Sermon, man. Like
Do
he
you
went
think
on to
it's
do a lot
do
of
you
great
think it's
things.
better though? That's the question, because as
Hmm.
part of EPMD, remember at the time that they were popping as well, um, they were dropping gold albums. Like that was unheard of, and they weren't pandering to the mainstream at all. They would tell you that on Crossover, and they'll tell you that on,
Yeah,
you know, a few other tunes that they've got, that they weren't looking for mainstream love, but people were still
nah,
buying their albums. You know what I mean? And let's be honest, the first four albums I'd probably list as classic albums.
yeah,
For
yeah. They're one of the greatest duos in hip hop, no doubt,
absolutely, like there's no
no doubt.
question. I was listening to Business and Personal literally just today. Um, I don't skip a song.
Yeah,
Like the album had finished, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's finished already!" Like I had to go back again to the Boondocks. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
did he
definitely.
do
It's probably my
did he
favorite.
do
Hmm.
better because he had such a great run? I'm not disputing your choice at all. I'm just
No, no,
saying
I
like
hear you.
I'm
Hmm.
just saying like did he do better as a solo artist than he did as part of EP? Because they were actually really successful, considering, you know, one of the first people to be actually signed to Def Jam. They were making music
Hmm.
that they wanted to make. They weren't pandering, and they were successful. They were touring. They put a lot of people on. He left, and he was still successful, but his solo work isn't as revered as the work that he did with Parish. I feel
Yeah.
like Eric is always going to be EP&D, but
Hmm.
that's me. Like I could be
No,
wrong.
I think they're valid points, and I think they're great points that you make. And I think probably, and once again, I'm not just putting an age stamp on it, but I think maybe because I experienced EPMD. I came in on Business and for Personal. That's when I
Mm,
came into hip hop. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I know their albums before that, but I came in on that album. So that's the EPMD that I know. So
yeah,
that's probably my favorite EPMD album because that's the one I actually had in my possession and lived with.
fire album.
Um,
Let's
oh,
keep
come on, man. It's probably my favorite. And for
it.
me as
Great
well, I
album.
don't want to get lost in the EPMD thing, but Back in Business, I thought was dope, man. I loved it Back in
Fire
Business.
album. Fire album.
Yeah, it gets a lot of stick, but I love it, man. But yeah, anyway, so great point what you're saying, but I think the reason why I still would say yes is because I know with his EPMD run, they got their golds, they got their this, and they got their that, and their accolades. And you made a great point by saying that when people think of Eric Sermon, they think of EPMD Eric Sermon. For me, though, the reason I would still say Eric Sermon for my choice is because if I'm honest, apart from the EPMD Eric Sermon, when I think of Eric Sermon, I think of him almost as the catalyst for one of the greatest of all time, Redman. Do you know what
Mm,
I mean? I think of him as the catalyst for, even though people say he's a wasted talent, I think about him as
Keith
a
Murray.
catalyst for Keith Murray. I
Mm,
think about him as a catalyst for Jamal. I think about the production that he's done since. I think about the classic songs that I love that he had a hand in. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
mm.
so even though maybe commercially he's not revered as much as his EPMD days, I feel for the culture and for hip hop, it was a better move for him because I don't think he would have had his hand in as much people's career or production with him still being an EPMD.
Mm.
And I don't know how successful they would have still went on to be
Yeah, that's fair.
if that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fair.
Um, so they're the reasons I'd say Eric Sermon.
Yeah, that's fair.
And just while we're talking about him, man, I just want to give him his flowers, man. He ain't mentioned enough, man.
Absolutely, man. He's one
Um,
of my favorite producers
Incredible
ever,
producer.
ever, 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 ever. Like just from EPMD to Redman, like throughout the '90s, pretty much. Eric Sermon
Definitely, man.
was my guy, man. Like, and I was actually able to meet him just before the pandemic hit as well.
Okay.
I was actually on the stage with him at
Mm,
a show that he did. So yeah, we got to meet him.
nice one.
In December. It would have been around this. No, it would have been around October 2019. Uh,
Mm,
but yeah, man, that was a great night. So yeah, big shout out to Eric Sun, man. Real nice dude as well.
good, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a nice one. No, that's a good shout, man. But all right, so who you got for your number one?
All right, man. So my number one, I'll probably have to start off with Busta Rhymes.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
So,
definitely.
so coming from Leaders of the New School, I think everyone pretty much knew that he was the star of the group.
Yeah.
I was always waiting for his verses, and it wasn't just because he was the animated guy and he was the loudest. You know what I mean? I just think I identified that it was almost like Fushnikins. Like you listen to Fushnikins,
I was just thinking,
you're waiting for the Chip Fu verse in it. Like it's just,
yeah,
especially at that age, I was listening to them. You'll just resonate
exactly.
more with that guy, and I think he had the dread. He was doing all the stuff for the videos, and then of course he did the feature on Scenario, and that
Yeah.
put him over the top. Everyone was like, "Who's this Dungeon Dragon guy?" Da, 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 da. Then obviously when Leaders of the New School split, and I was actually watching Guarantee Raps where they split up live on
Bro,
TV.
you see their faces? They were like,
That was
well, that was
crazy.
mad.
Stop filming.
I remember that so clearly, man.
I couldn't believe they left that in. Like it was
Crazy.
They must have edited it like at some point. I don't know, man. That was just wild.
Crazy.
It's
I remember that so clearly, man.
It's a hip hop moment. But once he left, it was kind of in limbo. And I've watched him in an interview actually talking about him not knowing what he was going to do once he left the group, because he was like, I just had a baby son. I was with my baby mom, and I was like, I need to make money. So he was like, I'm going to go in the studio and I'm going to be doing features. So that's why he went on an absolute tear with features, because he was just in studios, just writing raps
that money
to these beats. And then people like, okay, come on and do a song. And then he'll go on, kill it. And then everyone else like, oh, what's going on with this guy? So by the time his solo album come out, I remember it like it was yesterday. My brother Lewis at the time, he come in into school. He's like, "Oi, have you man heard that Busta Rhymes tune?" He was like, "What, on his own?" Yeah. And of course it was Woo-Ha.
Woo-Ha, yeah.
I remember going home because it wasn't on the box yet. And he must have heard it on the radio or something. And obviously we didn't have access to streaming like we do now. So I had to wait for it to come on. And then when I heard it,
game over straight.
Game over.
Still
like,
one of my favorite songs from Busta.
Totally different to
nearly 30 years.
I heard at the time or since. He had his own style, and it was just him. And then obviously from there, he's amassed an amazing like career on his own, like amazing, classic solo albums. I know people like to say Busta don't have classic albums. I say that's absolutely.
Busta's got classics.
Busta has classic
without
albums.
a doubt.
So yeah, man. I mean, I don't think you can dispute that he went on to forge a much better solo career than he ever would have had if he stayed with the Leaders.
Fully agree, man.
Yeah,
I'm with you, man. And while we're here, man, let's just talk about his drop last year, man. I'm still spinning that.
Still, bro.
The Extinction Level event too.
Still running that
I think yesterday I was playing about 3 or 4 tracks.
Same, bro. Same. Yesterday I was listening to Czar in the car, the Czar remix. Bro, like, I listen to that album all the time. I love it. Fantastic album.
Definitely, man. Yeah, no, definitely shout to Busta, man. He's doing his thing hard. Good pick. All right, so I'm going to go at my number 2 then for who I think it was a good move for them. And I'm going to go with Pusha Ton. Let's go with Pusha T. The man himself, man. So yeah, Pusha T.
Controversial, but yeah.
The reason I'm going to say that is because obviously everyone loves the clips. The clips are revered. Do you know what I'm saying? No Malice has gone to do his thing in the Christian world. I don't know how he's doing there. I haven't really taken the time to listen to much. I think I heard the first album. Was it? I can't remember the name, man. But I think I listened to the first drop he done, and it's decent, definitely. But I can't really speak on that because I don't know how. He may be like in that circle. He might be like the greatest Christian rapper in that circle. I don't really know. So, but for me, now this might be controversial. I think if you look at Clip's projects and listen to a lot of their projects, I actually think there was more times than not, right, that I actually think Malice had the better verses.
I totally agree. Malice is a better rapper to me. Yeah, for sure.
He was more refined, man. He was no disrespect to Pusha, but I think Malice was easier on the ear. He was like easier to listen to. Do you know what I mean? I think he was the more refined rapper. Right. And I don't know if I should have really used Pusha today because, like I said, I don't know how Malice is doing now, but I definitely think it was a good look. I shouldn't say a good look. I definitely think the split pushed Pusha T to a different level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The way Pusha T is talked about now and celebrated now and held in reverence now, would he be if Clips were still rolling as they would be? Do you know what I mean? Um,
Mm.
so for the sake of the conversation, for the sake of what the episode is about today, I definitely want to say Pusha T. I think Pusha T is I think he's an amazing rapper. And take away the content. I've heard a lot of people say his content's always the same, and you know what? You can argue that it is. Do you know what I'm saying? But I think he does it. He's one of the best at doing it, though.
Mm.
And even his, I mean, I know it's a rapping. It's not, English literature or anything like that. But the man spits immaculately, man. Like the way
Yeah,
he raps, the way his pronunciations, man. Like
mm.
everything, man. Like intelligence. He's an elite rapper. I'm not saying he's necessarily one of my favorites. He's not on my top 10 or anything like that, but I just recognize skill. And I
Mm.
think Pusha T is an elite MC,
Yeah,
he's a
he is.
top tier rapper. And all I'm saying is I don't know if, he had his brother to lean on. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they were doing their thing together. You know, it's like when you're in a certain beef and you got your man with you and that you got your crew with you and things like that, man them around you. But there's times when you might be in school or whatever, and you're on your own. You know what I'm saying? You got to roll differently,
Mm.
not differently in a sense like you're scared, but differently in a sense where you know you're gonna have to hold it down a little
Always
bit more
different.
because you
Yeah.
ain't got. You know what I mean? You ain't got certain support. So, if it's going to go there now, you got to really take it there proper. And I feel like that's almost how Pusha approached the rap game after the clip split. He was like, well, I'm out here on my own right now.
Mm.
I need to make a name for myself. I need to shine more. And I think he done that. And, his mixtapes, his albums, yeah, I think Push is a dope MC, man. Pun intended. Yeah, and I think a lot of that is to do with the split, man. So yeah, that's my second choice, definitely, man.
Yeah.
Pusha T, man.
Yeah, I'd agree with most of that. I think he dropped better music with the clips, if I'm being honest. As in,
Okay,
Hell Have No
him
Fear.
himself. Mm.
The mixtape series that they did. What was it called, man? They did it with the Re-Up Gang. Can't remember, can't remember what
I've
the
gone
series
blank.
was
I
called.
know exactly what you
Yeah,
mean. I know what you mean.
but they did
I
like
know what you mean. I can picture it. I've just gone blank.
3 volumes of the mixtape
Mm.
series, and they were amazing. I think like the
Mm.
second one, I played that to death, man. The first 2 albums as well, I think were really good. I think Hell Have No Fury is like one of the dopest sophomore albums in hip hop. Like, it's just fire front to back. Third album wasn't great until the casket drops. I didn't think
No,
that
I didn't really spin that much at all.
nah. But when he did his solo stuff, I think I agree with you in that he might not have hit the heights that he did if he didn't sign with Kanye.
Right.
That definitely helped him a lot. Musically, I enjoy the clip stuff more, but
Okay.
I agree with you that by him not being part of the clips has allowed him to elevate himself to moving on to bigger stuff. So yeah, I'd agree with that one, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, my second one might be a bit obvious to be honest, but it is what it is, isn't it? So my second one is Ice Cube.
Definitely.
So moving on from obviously the world's most dangerous rap group, having Beats in House by Dr. Dre, writing the raps for the whole crew. He was comfortable in it. He was cool. He was like, we've come out, we've made a splash, we've made a hell of a lot of noise, we've ruffled some feathers, we've made a whole heap of money. I'm a superstar now. I could do movies, Boys in the Hood, all of that kind of stuff. But then this little guy over here, he's stealing my money, man. He's stealing all of my paper. He's not paying us right. So he goes off.
Mr. Heller.
And the risk that he took to go and do music with the Bomb Squad from the East Coast, bro, the balls for him to do that was incredible. And then for the album to turn out as it did. And then for me, Ice Cube's first, I love Lethal Injection.
Thank you.
Love it. Right?
Thank you.
Bro, the first 5 or 6 tunes on that album is just insane, right?
Why does it get the stick it gets, though? I don't understand.
You know what I think it is? I think it's because at the time it came out, I think because Snoop and Dre was so flipping over the top, like they were just in everyone's ears at the time. I think people thought that he was trying to follow that formula with his music, because the first half of the album, if he carried on that trajectory with that first 6 tunes, up till Bop Gun, right?
Yeah.
That is just immaculate. Like every Ghetto Bird, really
Listen,
dull. Bro. What was the other
I
tune?
love that album, man.
Bro, it's a sick.
Cave bitch and all.
Bro, like the album is crazy. You know how we do it as well, and the remix.
I
Just
love that
a
album,
great
man.
album. The second half
Mm,
wasn't as good as the first half, but it wasn't. It
mm,
wasn't trash by any means. It just wasn't as strong as the first 6 songs, and I think that's what
mm.
hurt the album slightly. But for me, it's still a great album. So for me, I give him 3 Stone Cold classic albums with his first
Yeah,
three,
yeah.
with
Mm-hmm.
America's Most Wanted, The Predator, and Death
Predator,
Certificate.
yeah.
Not in that order, but those three. And then
Yeah,
Lethal Injection, I rank highly. Personally, I love the album. So would I
same.
say it's a classic? No, because it's not recognized, because
It's not a
a lot of
classic.
people didn't
Mm.
like it. But I absolutely love it. So for him to go on and have that career and obviously move into writing movies, like he don't get enough props for that. Like he wrote Friday as well, you know what I mean? And that
Mm.
obviously went on to be one of the greatest film series, like as in, hood movies.
Yeah, yeah.
To be in a genuine like Hollywood star, you know what I mean? That's not easy to do, bro. From where he came from as
Nah,
well,
man.
like for how do you go from fuck the police to doing what he was doing with
To do
like,
it,
are we
yeah.
there yet? Do you know what I mean? I don't think he gets enough props
Definitely.
for being this guy over here, like this hardcore, super pro black, staunch hardcore rapper, to doing light-hearted comedy. I mean, not many people have done that successfully. I saw him in concert as well with Dub C, and that was a great show. You know what I mean? He ticks all the boxes, man. An absolute like hip hop icon. Um, Definitely
Nah,
above
yeah.
status, man. So yeah, big up Ice
Fully.
Cube.
And
Amazing.
it's mad. Nah, definitely. And it's mad because you're mentioning all them classics and you didn't even mention Kill It Will, one of the best EPs
Killer
that dropped.
Will, one of the best
So that
EPs
shows you
I've
even
heard in my
more.
life. Amazing.
That's what I'm
Black
saying, man.
Empathy.
So
Come on, man.
yeah, that's what I mean. So yeah, no, shout out to Ice Cube, man, without a shadow of a doubt. No, that's a good pick. This isn't my pick, but just while we're talking about NWA, got to
Mm.
say Easy E as well, innit? No, mom, hold on. Nah, let me, sorry. Yeah, let me move. Let me not do that. Let me just go to my pick. Let me just go to my pick. I was getting a bit excited there. I'm just thinking about NWA. All right, let me go to my pick. So I'm gonna go with Sean P. God bless the dead. I'm
Ooh,
gonna go with
interesting.
Sean P
Interesting.
for my better without. Um, the reason I say Sean P, and a lot of people might not agree with me. Once again, not just saying it for the recording, but Sean P was always my favorite from out of boot camp. Always.
Okay,
Um,
stop right there.
yeah.
Sean P was your favorite in boot camp. Like everyone's
From the
got their
jump.
opinion, but
Mm.
Rock was the guy, bro. Like Rock was the guy. Come on,
And everyone said that to me. Everyone was always like, "Rock's the guy," and I
Rock's
get it
incredible.
because yeah, no, definitely. You got the charisma, the flow, the voice, the bars, everything. I get it, and it's not even something I'm disputing. I fully get it. And we'll save this for another episode. But I'm a beats over bars, man. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying bars ain't important, but as we've said, music is
The beat has
music
to
in it.
catch you
You know what
first.
I mean? Right. So if I had to take one, then I'm a beats over bars, right? But
Mm.
I love bars. But for me, I just felt like when everyone was doing what they were doing, I just felt like Sean P was just a man that would just kind of be like, oh, I was in the studio. He'd be like, what, am I up? Okay, cool. Go spit a 16, that was just straight bars, lyrics, and then I could just see him leaving. Do you know what I mean? He just felt like the guy that was just, I'm here to rap. I ain't here to do nothing else. I ain't here to play games. I ain't here to mess about. Let me just rap, do my thing, hit you with some hard bars, the flows. Obviously on Nocturnal. And I know this is definitely a touch and go one, but I love Magnum Force. There's times when I have it over Nocturnal, to be
Yeah,
honest with you.
I have to.
Yeah, and I just think Sean P, man, I think lyrically, man, he's just on point, man. So he was always my favorite. But the reason why I still want to list him is because I felt like I was kind of in a minority when I used to say that. Even with your response, I was in a minority. Understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
But obviously, for whatever reasons, after the whole split and him doing his Monkey Bars and his solo work and stuff like that, and the rebranding, as I call it. Do you know what I mean? When he became, like, you know what I mean, the real Sean P that we
Real
know
Sean P. Yeah.
today. Yeah, I feel like that's when people really started being like, right, Sean P's that guy. So I would say it worked better for him in that sense, because if you said to someone now, who can you think of from the boot camp clique? Obviously, apart from like Buckshot as the forerunner, you're gonna say Sean P. Do you know what I mean? And that's how it is today. And I think that's because of him breaking off, doing the solo thing, doing his albums, and he ain't got a bad project. That he ain't got a bad
No, he
project.
hasn't. He hasn't.
If you look at his albums, you know what I mean. Even the last one he done after he passed, Imperial Exorcist,
Imperial
is it?
Hex.
Yeah, that's the one.
Mm.
Bro, that's a hard album, man. When you look at that, it's hard. It's probably the weakest out of his proper albums, but
But
it's
it's still
still
fire.
hard.
Mm.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? There's so many tracks on that. Um, Jesus Christ Superstar. But listen, man, like I just feel like he went nuts after he
His
started doing his
mixtapes,
own
his
thing, man.
mixtapes as well were crazy.
That's
From
what I mean, man. So
he did
he's
that.
missed sorely, man.
That was it. The Master P album. He mixtape.
Mm.
He did the
Songs in the Kia Price.
Price. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
Yeah, man. He just, you know what I mean, and obviously Monkey Bars and that. That's incredible, man. It's my favorite, really, like, drop from him. Yeah, he almost like he just rebranded himself, and he was like a completely different person altogether, man. So
His
even
style
though I thought it was dope
changed.
before, his style
Everything
changed,
changed.
his flow changed. Yeah, because
Yeah,
his flow was more intricate before. When I
yeah,
said he was
yeah.
like a rapper, he was more like intricate before. Do you know what I mean? Like he'd be
It
more in
was.
and out with the flows and blah blah.
Mm.
But then he started just chopping that down. Do you know what I mean? And he just started just being like,
You just went raw, just yeah.
bang, yeah. And
Yeah,
but
I'd have to
still,
agree with that one, man, for sure. Like
mm,
when I think of Helter Skelter, when it first dropped, I was definitely a rock guy. Like I loved rock. I thought he was just head and shoulders above everyone in the boot camp clip. But then he kind of didn't do anything solo wise for some reason. I was expecting him to have the career, you know what I mean? But when Sean dropped Monkey Bars, man, I was just like, where's this guy been? Like it's just a totally different,
completely different, man.
I could play all
Mike
of it,
Tyson and all that.
every single one of his solo projects, whether it be mixtapes, albums. I've got all of it, and I could play any one of them and not skip a track, not skip one tune. And obviously Random Acts as well. Like, where did that come from? For him to link
bro,
up
that was
Black Milk and Guilty Simpson, they just tear the shit out of that
was
album.
a sleeper, man. Because that's literally one. The nice thing about that is that it dropped, and I don't ask you why, but life's a busy thing, innit? But I just didn't pay no attention to it. You know what I'm saying? I would see it for ages. I'd even hear people talking about it, and I just think, okay, cool. But I remember the first time, obviously years ago now, I remember the first time I played that, I thought, shit, man, that's actually mad. You know what I'm saying? Not that I didn't expect it to be, but I love when albums hit me like that. But I didn't even spin it with any expectation. I just thought, let me finally get around to hearing this thing. And it was just mad. Do you know what I mean? And I just think,
I was heavy into Black Milk. I think that's what helped me to. I was heavy into Sean P as well, but I was heavy into Black Milk at the time as well. So I was like, these two to link up, and then I had to get into Guilty Simpsons. I didn't know much about him at that time.
Yeah.
Him and Sean P together over Black Milk. Oh my god!
Incredible work, man. Definitely incredible work, man.
So yeah, man. Another good shout, man, for sure. Like, yeah. R.I.P. to Sean P, man. Literally one of him along with Rockstar, Redman. Them three are like I love them to pieces, man. Like all three of them MCs, like yeah, just fire, just dope. So yeah, man. Sean P was one of my favorites from the minute he dropped Nocturnal as part of Helter Skelter, but when he did his solo stuff, man, and his little skits as well that he did, and he'll show you like little parts. Funny dude on top of everything else. And he was just real, man. He didn't give off. He didn't care, bro. Like he would just say what was on his mind, whether you liked it or you didn't. You know what I mean? He would just say it. And even on his tune, he's like, "I'll punch you in the face." You know what I mean? Like everyone on the tune, he just tell you, "I'll just punch you up." I don't care. I just love that vibe. Yeah, man. Sorely
Nah,
missed.
yeah, it's sorely missed, man. Sorely missed, man.
Sorely missed, bro. My next one is I wouldn't say it's controversial, man. Is Ghostface.
Here we go.
So I think personally, Ghostface has forged the best solo career out of all of the Wu MCs. Um,
Easily.
and considering when they first came out, he was in and out of the Wu albums because I think at the time he was on the run or something, but
Yeah,
he just wasn't. I know when they first come out, he was definitely on the run because he was hiding his face in the videos and stuff. But
definitely. Yeah.
yeah, so for the early stuff, he wasn't really around as much as the other. So I think Method Man was pushed as the star of the Wu Tang initially, and then obviously when the Purple Tape came out, and then you heard like Ghost really like getting in for the first time alongside Raekwon. He's, ooh, this guy is different. And then for him to do Iron Man, then Supreme Clientele, and then everything else that followed, just fire album after fire album. One of the best solo discographies in hip hop, like
Easily. Easily.
period. Which
Easily, man.
I don't think people expected from him because I remember when Supreme Clientele came out and everyone was like, "What? Like this is crazy! Who's this guy?" Because he wasn't really. He was kind of in and out at the time, and I think Iron Man was that one thing where people were like, "This is incredible. We need to hear more from him."
Iron Man is a masterpiece, man.
And because he's got so much variety on there, he could do tunes like Motherless Child, then he could do All That I've Got, then he could do Daytona 500, and they were all totally different, but all fire as well. And he could show that he could get on a tune and have like Mary J doing like the sweetest hook, and then he could get on the most disgusting tune, like Daytona 500, and just talk nasty and greasy for a whole tune of Wildflower and all of that.
Yeah, Kame and all that.
Kame, just
No,
crazy.
sorry, am I mixing Kame's thing, innit? No, Kame's off Iron Man.
Kame's on Iron Man, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I was mixing up. I was thinking of Purple Tape, but yeah, sorry, carry on. Yeah, definitely, man.
So yeah, obviously his solo career just went crazy, man. So yeah, I don't think he would have been as high in my personal favorites list as he is if he was just a guy in Wu-Tang. I think you need to go solo, get a lot of outside production as well because he didn't rely on RZA to do his albums.
Nah.
You know? I think on Supreme Clientele, RZA's only got a very small part of that album. You know what I mean? He's got beats from everyone, and he's just
literally
just quality, man. Like he's worked with Madlib and Dilla and just everyone. Like he's got fire beats from. So yeah, man, definitely Ghostface, man.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Yeah, Ghost is the guy, man. You know, most people know how highly I rate Ghostface. He's probably like in my top 3 of all time. Do you know what I mean? I think Ghost is incredible MC. Everyone knows how I feel about Iron Man. It's in my top 10 albums of all time, hip hop albums of all time. It's one of the few albums that every time I listen to it, it's better and better. Do you know what I mean? It's a masterpiece, man. I think Iron Man is just an incredible album. I have it easily over Supreme Clientele, which a lot of people like easily. I have it easily over Supreme Clientele, but yeah, Supreme Clientele, and even just to maybe not 36 as much. He caught my attention a lot in 36 because of what you were saying about the whole imagery, the little skits he was on, the few tracks he did show up on. I think he killed them.
Yeah.
So he was always on my radar from 36. I always thought I like this Ghost guy, but from like most people, Meth was the man, innit? Do you know what I mean? When we dropped, like Meth was the guy, especially with the only one of a solo and all that stuff. But yeah, from everything that kind of dropped after that, Ghost was just literally going higher and higher and higher. And I'm thinking, this guy's mad. Obviously, Wu-Tang Forever. Love Ghost in that. But yeah, man, I agree. Good shout.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, man. So yeah, Ghost is the guy without a doubt. So we said 3 each, didn't we? I've lost track. Yeah, we said 3 each.
So we've done the 3 that have worked out, and now it's the 3 that maybe didn't work out as well.
All right, I'll kick us off then. And what I'll do is just to stay in vein with what we was talking about at the jump. I'll stay in vein with Dipset then. And for me, I think Jewels, man. Yeah, Mr. Santana himself, man. I personally don't think him going solo worked in his favor. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that would disagree with that easily. But I know there was like a whole bidding war and there was a whole madness over Jewels. Like people really wanted to sign him. I know you're probably sitting there thinking, why on earth did people fight over Jewels? But
I didn't say
there
a
was
word.
this thing. No, 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 I know. But I'm thinking, I can imagine what you're thinking. But there was a whole bidding war. People were really into Jewels. He was like that guy for a moment, man. People was like, yeah, we want his solo work. Now, for me, in Dipset, you might look at Joel's and be like, yeah, okay, you know what I mean? This guy's interested, isn't it? He piques your interest and you see what he's got to say. Obviously, the tracks off Come Home With Me or whatever, the singles that were dropped on Diplomatic Community and all those things, you might be like, yeah, Joel's is saying something, man. But yeah, when he dropped the, is it What the Game Was Missing? The debut, bro, bitterly disappointed, man. I didn't like that album at all. There's probably like,
His first album.
that was his first one, yeah. What is it? What the Game Was Missing?
No, I don't think
Something
that's
like that, man. I've probably
it's called
got that
something like
completely wrong.
I remember the cover, it was white and he was there in like some
He's in a big white
yeah.
oversized. What the game? Am I mixing it up with
I,
Jadakiss's? What was
I think
Jadakiss's
what the games you
debut?
missing, I swear that
No,
was
Kiss
like
the Game.
I swear that was like his second album or something. I just remember his album having a different name. I just can't remember what
Yeah,
it was.
but there you go. Whatever it is,
Wasn't
it
it
weren't
like,
impactful enough.
oh, that's annoying.
I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to break the rule now. But I'm gonna have to look because
Yeah.
I'm,
I'll
I'm annoyed
find
now.
out what
Let
it
me
is,
see.
man, because it wasn't. I don't think it was that. It was like from me to you, something like that.
You might be right, bro. You might be right. Let's just have a look here. But while I'm looking, either way, the point I'm making with his debut when it dropped, I was disappointed, bro. Like I was thinking, this ain't. Yeah, From Me to You. You're exactly
Mm.
right, bro. Sorry, From Me to You. My bad.
Was that
And
his first?
that's his
That was his
debut
debut
one,
solo. Yeah.
2003. What the game's missing was his Sophomore. That's the
Yeah,
second one.
yeah.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, I'm mixing the two up. But yeah, From Me to You. When that dropped, 2003.
Mm.
Man, that's Dipset's time. You know what I'm saying? 2003. And obviously he was
Mm.
contending with G Unit and all that. But I'm thinking, okay, let's see what this has got to say, man. And I remember putting it in. There's probably like 2, 3 songs at the most that I would possibly say I'll play again. But yeah, it was disappointing for me. And I feel like after the solo projects, once again, I may be wrong, but I feel like after the solo projects, any excitement that was there for Jewels kind of dipped. Do you know what I mean? I feel he was in his prime working with and on the Dipset work. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, Jewels, man. I don't think we're going to spend any more time on that. But yeah, for me, his solo work was disappointing. Yeah, so that he would be my first choice for, I think, people that left groups and didn't really do themselves justice, man. Yeah, I think his work was disappointing after that. So Jewels. So here you go.
Yeah, Jewel's like farting the wind to me. Couldn't care less. I thought he was trash, to be completely honest with you. So my first pick for someone who didn't quite do so well solo might be controversial actually, but Havoc from Mobb Deep.
Okay.
And that's in no way an insult to Havoc, because Havoc is like one of my favorite producers ever. But I think when Prodigy went off and did some solo stuff initially, I think that was around maybe 99, something like that.
Yeah, 99, yeah.
Oh shit, man, why are these guys doing solo stuff, man? But then I heard HNIC and I was like, okay, this is fire still, because I just wanted to hear Prodigy over Havoc beats in it. That was what.
Same.
That was, you know what I mean? So when I was here, because at the time it was like, who's this Alchemist guy and who's all these guys, man? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because we didn't know these people. They're like
Didn't know them.
on HNIC.
Nah, didn't
First
know
time
them.
I'm hearing their names.
But I was a bit skeptical, bro. Like, what's he gonna sound like over these guys' beats? You know what I mean? Like, I'm used to him over Havoc, and Havoc's sound was kind of evolving album by album. So it was a different sound on Hell on Earth than the sound that was on The Infamous, and then the sound that was on Murder Music was different than the sound that was on Hell on Earth. So Havoc was like was evolving each album, like doing different things. And then when they went solo, I was just like, I don't know. I wasn't expecting it, I think. But I think Havoc just kind of didn't really grab it with both hands the same way that Prodigy did. And I think like you can easily overlook his albums. Like he did an album with The Alchemist, The Silent Partner.
Silent Partner, sorry, yeah.
And I think like a load of people are like, oh right, I didn't even know this existed. But when you think about it, if Havoc today said, I'm doing an album with The Alchemist, Twitter would explode. Twitter would be like, what? Look at The Alchemist, crazy, fire emojis, everything. But he did that and hardly anyone knows that it exists. And that kind of tells me that someone of Havoc's stature should definitely be looked for more. I mean, he did the 13 album. He did 13 Reloaded or something.
13 was dope, I thought, yeah.
It was all right.
I liked it.
He's done a few solo projects, but I never heard them spoken about. And I think, obviously, when he was part of Mobb Deep, they were like one of, if not the greatest duo in hip-hop. So, although I respect Havoc highly, I think he was just better off in a group. I don't know if
let me ask you this though.
Came into his solo career as Prodigy did.
No, I hear that, but this might be a silly question. But when you talk about Havoc and his solo career, are you talking about him as a rapper though?
But yeah,
or his production?
Yeah, because he's got albums where he's rapping over his own beats.
Yeah. So you feel like he should have done more?
He should be on more features
for his rapping.
He should have more production credits because he's a dope producer. You know what I mean? He should have more production credits in hip hop, I think. I don't know. I think maybe he just laid low. He's known to be an introvert. You know what I mean? He's known to not be, out and about. And he's happy to just chill and make beats. So I think maybe that might have held him back as well. You know what I mean? With regard to being like a solo artist. Maybe he just wasn't interested in being a solo artist. Maybe he just did it because, it was just something to do at that time. But I don't know if he had passion to be a solo artist. So maybe that's why.
I hear that.
You know what I mean? He just didn't put. When it was Mobb Deep, you could feel that he was passionate. Like his beat, you could tell, like just by listening to the music and the beats and his rhymes and everything else, you could tell like this is my shit. This is my thing. This is Mobb Deep. I listened to his solo stuff and I just didn't get that vibration from him. I just didn't get that.
No,
I'm fully confident I'm taking this. Do you know what I mean? It just felt like it was something like together. But obviously he didn't do as well as a solo artist as he did as part of Mobb Deep. But he always
that's true. Yeah, no, it makes sense. And it's funny because he started off as like the main rapper, didn't he?
He was writing Prodigy's raps and everything. When they first came out. So yeah, I don't know, man.
I think he was just comfortable in Mobb Deep, man, because even Prodigy was saying that all naming the albums and naming the songs and everything, Havoc had no hand in any of that.
Yeah, exactly.
You just make the beats, Prodigy would name the songs, name that. Yeah. So you're right. I think he was obviously comfortable with Prodigy doing his thing. Because even when you look at the whole move to G Unit thing, Prodigy is the one that's excited about that. Prodigy and 50 is cool. Havoc don't really. He said it himself. He didn't really check for 50 like that. Do you know what I'm saying? So it was more one of those ones. I think he was just probably not, like you said, just maybe not even just excited about the business no more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think what he was doing. I want to make beats and spit my raps, and that's it. So it just feels like he put stuff out because people like, you're Havoc, you need to. But I just don't feel like he was as enamored with maybe having a solo career. So I think that just kind of showed, man. And I don't know, man. I just think for someone who is
his stature, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
that's a good shout.
I just think he should definitely have a bigger solo career. Like he should be more recognized as a solo artist, I think, personally. So yeah, that's why I picked it, man.
No, that's a good shout. All right, man, my turn. Okay, I think this will be controversial again. I'm going to go with.
You know, controversy, innit? Shit.
I know, man. I know. I think I'm going to go with the God MC himself, man. Rakim, man. I'm going to go.
I'm not going to argue with you on this one, bro.
There you go, man. So if you're watching, shout out to J Bream. I know Rakim is his favorite rapper and that. Definitely, man. So but yeah, I'm going to go Rakim. Reason being, it's probably similar to what you was asking me about with the whole Eric Sermon EPMD things. That when people think about Rakim, obviously they're thinking about Eric B and Rakim, you know, those classics, that great era, those music. I find that when people really talk about Rakim a lot, they don't really mention much of his after work. Do you know what I'm saying? Um, for me, I loved 18th Letter. I think it was a dope album. I think Rakim was in a zone. The singles he dropped when he came out, the Guess Who's Back and the can't remember what the other one's called now, but I was like, right, he's spitting like, and I almost feel like from Eric B and Rakim, Rakim's always been known as obviously that lyricist where it caused other MCs to step up the game. So when everyone was doing their sort of basic flows, obviously, I mean, Rakim was that guy that really put lyricism into hip hop, man. And we know and understand that. But I feel even after the Eric B and Rakim, I feel like he went on to another level, like lyrically even. And I mean, he was obviously over the primo beats, whatever beats. He was just doing his thing, man. And I feel he was going hard. And on the 18th letter, I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, I just don't feel like he even gets the respect that is deserving of him, even amongst the industry, bro. I know Dre is Dre, but think about it, man. Dre had him at his disposal, man. I mean, to be working with, man. And it's come on, man. I just think like I know Rakim said it himself that he was on different paths, and I think Dre wanted him to go down a different angle. But when you was listening to The Watcher 2 with Jay, Dre, and Rakim, bro, Rakim first was mad. You're thinking this guy, man, he's an incredible MC, man.
Like, look how many people Dre has done this to, bro. Like
that's what I'm saying. So it might be just because that's how Dre is. He just you know what I mean? He just kind of just lets people slip through his fingers. I don't know what it is. Maybe he just takes on too much. I don't know.
Doggy Style, we might not have ever got the album because apparently it was only 80% finished. And Suge was like, listen, man, just get this shit out the door. But Dre was like, it's not finished. It's not finished. So what we've got now of Doggy Style, you know what I mean? We might not have got that if he wasn't pushed to drop it, bro. Because that was made in what? I mean, 2 weeks or something.
93. Sorry, yeah.
And they were saying that, someone, I can't remember who it was, one of the guys who was involved in making it, basically said the album is only 75%, 80% finished. And we basically rushed it out. Because obviously Snoop's buzz was so crazy at the time. And Suge was like, get this shit on the shelves now. Like, we don't want to miss this buzz, Dre. We don't want you in the studio wasting these people's time. So they put it out, man. And we got what we got, which is a 5 mic-up. You know what I mean? But if we had to wait any longer, then who knows, man? So Dre definitely helped to derail what could have been great, man. But I agree with you, bro.
But yeah, Rakim, man, definitely. I think obviously like I said at the beginning, we're not going into why, but for obvious reasons, Rakim couldn't really be doing that thing anymore. But yeah, I think after that, Rakim's incredible MCs in my top 10 of all time, as he is in probably a lot of people's. I shouldn't say most, but a lot of people's. But yeah, I just don't feel like when people think Rakim, they're thinking about, you know what I mean, like pre-97 Rakim. People ain't talking about, they're not talking about 97 onwards Rakim. You know what I'm saying? So, that would be my number 2, man. So hit me. Here you go.
All right, bro. My next one is Pras of the Fugees.
Pras, well. All right.
Whack. Just trash. Had the audacity to go solo. That's it really. Why bother? Like, terrible rapper, bro. Yeah, like what is like I remember at the time, when the Fugees' second album come out, my breakdown at the time, Ricky, was like, this album's great. Because I heard Blunted on Reality and I was like, what is this shit? This is awful.
I wasn't feeling that at all.
That was a terrible album. The only thing I liked on there was that they had the remix of Mona Lisa in it. And that's basically, I think they added it on later as well, because there was a video for that tune, the Mona Lisa tune. And that's what got me into the Fugees, because initially I thought they were garbage. So after hearing the score, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. But then you heard Praz's verses, and I was like, why is this guy still in this group? Why haven't they sent him back to Haiti, man? This is terrible. Like, why hasn't he been deported? Like,
man.
Check this guy's passport, man. He shouldn't be here, right?
Wow.
So when Lauren went off to, obviously Lauren was mega talented. Wyclef was doing all the beats and all that. So I was like, okay, them two I understand. But when Pras got a solo deal, I was like, who's he paying? because there's
Yeah.
dope artists that can't get their shit on the shelves, and you've got a solo album. And I haven't even bothered to listen to it, man. I heard Ghetto Superstar, and that was enough for me, bro. And yeah, just why bother?
Yeah, I ain't heard it. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't heard it. Like you said, Ghetto Superstar. Some of his verses in the score I actually didn't mind. I think his verse in
What,
How Many Nights is alright. Ready or Not was
what was
alright.
the tune? He had a verse saying something about, what was it, man? It was just bullshit, man. Just terrible. Just trash. Just trash.
I don't even know what it was about Pras, but I don't know. It was just something about
his
him.
voice, he sounded like that guy who came to deliver food at the studio.
Wow.
And they were like,
Wow.
we need a filler verse, man. Like, can you speak English? Can you say something? And he just read off a flipping notepad and went,
wow.
BDB, BDB,
actually
BDB,
funny.
Like, terrible, man. Get out of there.
Kept him.
Just terrible.
But even Wyclef though, man, if we're keeping it all the way real, bro, like Carnival was decent. Like, I ain't even gonna lie, it was surprisingly good. But even Wyclef though, man, like I don't know, like I feel like he's kind of overrated, like as an MC, because you're looking at Freakies, man. Like
he was always a weird one to me because he's talented, but he ruined Cannabis's album, so I never forgave him since then.
Yeah.
As soon as he ruined Cannabis' album, it was over, as far as I was concerned.
Nah, yeah, he's definitely talented in a sense of.
I mean, he can play the guitar, but he's done a load of weird. Like he did that tune with The Rock, and I was like, "What is this bullshit?"
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And I was like,
"Doesn't matter."
Yeah, it just.
But then he's on the track with Pun, and let's be honest, man. Pun doesn't make Wyclef look stupid. Like Wyclef, I don't know if he wrote the verse or whatever.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's annoyingly talented. Yeah, but sometimes people with like mega talent don't always make the best use of that talent. So he's musically gifted. He can sing. He can rap. He can play instruments. He's obviously grown up with Creole music and reggae, and he's been influenced by a load of stuff. He can spit bilingual. Like he can spit in like different languages.
Yeah.
I've seen him spit,
and he's a smart guy, apparently, man.
Then he switches into like he's a talented guy. Like I'll never take that away from him. Do I want to listen to his shit? No. Will I listen to his shit over Pras? Absolutely. I listened to my own raps from when I was 15 above Pras. I'll definitely get in the booth with him anytime and wash him.
That's funny, man.
So yeah, man, Pras will be my next pick, man.
No, I heard that, man. No, yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. All right, so my last one. Most people know how much I love CNN, and I'll say I love CNN. I should really rephrase it and say I love War Report. Top 10 album of all time for me. We've had our discussions about War Report. For me, there's hardly any tracks I skip, if any. I think it's an incredible album. Obviously, Capone's in prison for 50% of it, so he's not on half of it. A lot of the tracks where Capone's on are hard, I think. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm gonna say Capone, man. Obviously, War Report dropped. Nori done his thing. He dropped NORE in '98. I think it's a very good album, man. A lot of tracks on there that I really like. You know what I mean? But there are some terrible tracks on there, but there's a lot of good tracks on there, man. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't even gonna lie, there's some bad tracks on there, man. Banned from TV.
Woo.
Top 5 posse cut of all time for me personally. Probably my favorite Swiss Beats beat as well. I know a lot of people don't really dig his beats, but for me, I love everything about that track, man. Love it.
Yeah, that track blew my mind when I first heard it. I'll be completely honest,
and it's the first track on the album. Yeah, man. After the little intro bit finishes, that comes in.
That tune is
insane, man. Everyone kills it, like everyone. Yeah, it's big music. I don't always
Cameron's
say that.
On that tune as well, right?
Yeah, Cam kills it. Nature kills it.
Yeah, I didn't like
obviously.
Cameron,
you didn't like whose verse?
Cameron. I think he's the only person that I'd happily skip on that track.
See, yeah, that's because you don't like Cam, but I actually think everyone goes hard on that. There's time. If anyone told me anyone was their favorite,
that was for sure.
That's what I'm saying, man. I think anyone had the potential to have the best verse on that track, apart from Nori's, of course. Like Nori's was not the best verse at all, man.
Yeah, man.
yeah, on his own track. You know what I mean? But yeah, so obviously Nori done his thing. That album was a smash for him. Um, God's favorite was big for a lot of people. I felt it had way too many fillers. It was bloated. Obviously he's
Yeah,
gone on
he
to
was
do.
riding
Do
the
you know what I
Neptunes
mean?
at that point, though, innit? He was
It,
riding.
it was yeah,
He
yeah.
had found the
It was
Neptunes, but
bloated, man.
yeah, he had a yeah. It was, man. It
It
definitely
was
was.
bloated, man. I couldn't hear too much after that, man. So obviously he's gone on to be the podcaster that he is. You know what I mean? The whole media thing that he is. He's doing his thing, but Capone, War Report, a lot, and I've heard some people say it's not a classic, but War Report is
What?
would be revered as a great. I've literally, bro. I don't know if it's just Twitter or what, but I know everyone I speak to about War Report is like undeniable classic. But you know, it's like you get on
Undeniable
Twitter,
classic.
obviously. But that's what I mean. I think we were saying it last week or the week before. When you're in your circle, be it college, school, work colleagues, whatever, it's a much smaller capacity in it. So it's very likely that more of you are going to think the same. You're thrown into something like Twitter where you've got thousands of people in the same area. Obviously, you're getting a lot more varied opinions. So there's things I've heard on Twitter that I've never heard in my 30 years of listening to hip hop. You get me?
Yeah, that's true.
But
That's
yeah,
true.
you know what I mean? So a lot of people are like, yeah, Raw Report, it's not a classic for me, but blah, blah, blah. But whatever, even if you don't deem it as a classic, I've never heard anyone say it's a shit album, though. Like, everyone knows Raw
Nah,
Report's
that
incredible.
that'll be
Do you know what I
pushing it
mean?
way too far.
That's what I'm saying. So everyone knows it's a banger. But what I'm saying is Capone played a part in that banger. I know he weren't there for 50% of it, but I think his presence was felt on there. I liked his tracks on there. Black Gangster, Capone kills that track. But yeah, I just think what's he doing? Like, what's happened after that? CNN doing their thing. When they come together, obviously they done the reunion album. Yeah, I just think Capone he could have rid the rave a little bit more of War Report like Nori did. I'm not fully sure of the time scales. Maybe he went back in or what. I'm not sure. But Nori was wise, man. War Report dropped 97. By the end of 98, he dropped um, NORE. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Phil Capone could have done something similar, man. So yeah, that'd be my final shout, man. Capone. So
Yeah, I don't rock
yeah,
with Capone, especially after he kept us waiting for to put on some shit show. Um,
nah,
yeah, I wasn't impressed with that at all, or Nori with that show that they put on. Um, so yeah,
it's not a good look, man.
yeah, I'd 100% go with that one, bro. Um,
Mm.
my last one might be controversial. Some people might disagree, but what do I care? It's Q-Tip from Tribe Called Quest.
I had him down as honorable mention. I agree
Yeah,
with you, man.
I hated Amplified. Like I hated that album. It just felt wrong. It was like Q-Tip had his shirt off on the album cover.
Was the whole
I was just like, what's going on there? Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing, bro?
Please
It
tell me
just
you like
felt,
Breathe and Stop though.
yeah, I like Breathe and Stop. I hate Vibrant
Breathe and
Thing.
Stop's hard, man.
Yeah, I like Breathe and Stop. I know Jay Dilla's revered now,
Mm.
and I know he was revered slightly before he died. And I don't want no one talking shit to me because I was listening to Dilla when he was doing beats for the Far Side, and when he was in a group with Proof from D12 that hardly anyone knows about.
I
So
don't know about that, bro. I
I don't
never
want
know
to hear
about
no
that.
one telling me shit. But
Mm.
when Dilla went with Tribe Called Quest to form the Umar, I was
Mm.
there when people were shit talking Dilla and saying he's ruined Tribe Called Quest sound and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
And I,
yeah, definitely. I heard the
and I
same.
think because the people are cussing Beats Rhymes of Life, they still do to this day. They still say
I still do.
it's Tribe's worst album and this, that, and the other.
It's not, bro.
It's
It's a
not,
good
man.
album, man.
Bro, I know the album word for word, and I don't know
It's a
how.
good album.
It's one of them that just I've played so much. I know every transition. I know every little beat change, everything. I know it. So that means I've listened
It's a
to it a
good
lot
album. Mm.
without knowing it. You know what I mean? Even the other day, I surprised myself. I'm like, how do I know every word to this tune? I think it was the
Mm.
jam, or you know what I mean. But I think the change in sound from Midnight Marauders, which was or is just like the quintessential rap album. That
Mm.
album for me is catching lightning in a bottle. That album was just from top to bottom, just perfection as far as hip hop goes, in my opinion. I don't think they could have made a better album than what they did with that one. Because
So you
if
got that over low end.
me personally, yeah, I love low end
Mm.
as well. Both 5 Mike
Mm.
albums. But if I had to pick one to live on a desert island with, I'm taking Midnight Marauders all day long.
Okay, cool.
They were more refined on the album. The beats were knocking harder. The MCs were better. And I just prefer the songs. I've got Award Tour. I've got God Lives Through. I've got Electric Realization, which is one of my favorite rap tunes of all time. Award Tour. Like you got so much. Like on I don't skip a tune on the album. But from that perfectly fused jazz hip hop sound to what Dilla was doing, where he was introducing more just a different way of drums, and just the feel of the beats was different. So I think that transition there was okay. Where they go in with this, and then obviously the split with Five going on. You could tell it was very fresh. It was like I was like, who's this Consequence guy? Like, where did he come from? And I didn't rate him. I don't think he was good, and he ruined a lot of songs for me at the time. I didn't like it. So to hear the direction Tip was going in from where he was, where I had him up here, I just didn't like it at all. Like I remember I went to go buy the album, and I remember Ronnie was playing it on the turntables, and he was playing Let's Ride or something, We Should Ride, or that one. And I was like, that's hard. Like that tune is sick. But then playing through the album, I don't know, man. It just didn't feel nice to me. But I bought it anyway because I thought, mate, it's Q-Tip, innit? It'll grow on me. And he had a couple tunes on there. I love the one with Busta Rhymes when he smashes up the studio at the end. That NT tune, that is a crazy tune. So maybe on the album he had maybe 3, 4 tunes that I liked, but the rest just, I don't know, it didn't feel right to me. Then he brought out it. I don't think it was ever released, but there was a tune called an album called Kamal the Abstract, and people were like, Tip is singing on this shit. So I think I got it on promo or something, but I got my hands on it when it wasn't actually released. And I listened to it and I was like, what's he doing? I mean, he redeemed himself with his next album. I can't remember what it's called now. The one where he's got the MPC in front of his face.
Oh, not Renaissance.
That's the one, the Renaissance.
Yeah, the Renaissance, isn't it? Yeah.
He redeemed himself. Like there's a couple tunes I liked on. Well, not a couple tunes. I like the album in general. But as a whole, I think for the artist that he is, I just think his solo career should have been so much bigger than it was.
Yeah,
and it wasn't that I was expecting him to always have the Tribe sound, because I know that it moved a lot from where it was with Midnight Marauders and the Large Professor influence into Beats, Rhymes and Life with the Dilla influence. So it was interesting to see where he was going, because I know Dilla blew his mind when they first met. And I knew he was like, this Dilla guy is the future. So I know that influence was massive on him moving forward. But I just didn't like what he was doing, because I never considered him to be an elite rapper. I never considered Tip to be someone I'll go to for. He was just like, his voice, I think was his weapon.
Definitely.
And his interaction with Fife on a tune, like the way that they go back and forth, and it was always like they were having fun on a song. But to hear just him, I just think it was just too much, because he wasn't a great rapper, as in a great rapper, in my opinion. And I don't know, it felt like he was doing radio reaches with like Vibrant Thing and a couple of the songs, and it just didn't feel right to me. And for what he had done with Tribe, I just expected more. I think that was the main thing. I was just disappointed basically with what he had dropped, man. So
no, that's a good shit, man.
Yeah, so
some people just have that chemistry, don't they?
Say that again, bro.
No, I was saying, I think some people just have that chemistry, as you're saying, because I feel the same with Fife when he done his solo work. You know what I'm saying? Not saying I expected anything humongous, do you know what I mean? But there was just a chemistry with Fife and Tip that
exactly.
On albums, you're like, but solo, it's almost like, you know what I mean? You can live without it, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I shouldn't be able to say I'd live without a Q-Tip solo album. Do you know what I'm saying? Like for the music that he's given us, and the production that he's done on other people's stuff, I just expected a lot more, man. Large
Yeah.
Professor was a great album on his own. The LP that never came
Yeah.
out
True.
officially until years and years later. But I can listen to the album today. I listen to the album a lot, and that album is fantastic from top to bottom. And I just think Q-Tip should have given us something
on them levels.
Yeah. So yeah, Q-Tip's my pick, man.
That's a good shout, man. Good shout. All right, man. So there are 3 picks each, man. So yeah, there you have it, man. There's a lot of people that could be thrown in there as honorable mentions and things like that. So when this is going out there, feel free to, you know what I mean, put your comments on, people. Let us know what you think. If you agree with us, you don't, or who you throw in there as you think done would do better without, or you know what I mean? So but yeah, man. Thank you for rocking with us again, man. Episode number 6. We'll just wrap things up now, man. So yeah, man. Jigs, anything you want to say before we bounce, man?
No, man. Just thank you for rocking with us once again. Tune in next week and take care of yourselves.
Definitely, man. Stay blessed, man. We'll see you in a week's time, man. Peace.
Stay blessed, man. Salute.